Hello and welcome to the February edition of Cycling Weekly's Tech of the Month. And Rupert and Ollie join us here in our new makeshift studio. I love moving around. We've moved like 5 or 6 times since the birth of Tech of the Month, which is good. And we have a bit of a shoe special this month. Each of us have a pair of shoes, and I'm excited to go through those. But I'll go first, and I have a pair of P.R.O Izumis. And these are the P.R.O Izumis Pro Leader V4s. There's one there, you can have that. These retail about £270, £280, thereabouts. My small, childlike feet, size 42.
Oh mate, we know they're not size 42 though.
Oh, don't. We got them measured on Monday, and they're a size and a half smaller than I thought they were.
You've been riding shoes that are too big for you then?
Apparently, yeah.
It's a size 40 feet.
So yes, for a size 42, these weigh in around 265 grams, 267-ish. I weighed these before this video, and the right one was a bit heavier than the left one, oddly, by a gram or so, but we won't go into that. You might be thinking that a pair of black shoes, why has he brought them in? What's so special about them? But I'm sure you guys seeing me rolling around in my hand, you may have caught a glimpse of them. But it's the sole that I love.
Woo!
And they look pretty damn bling.
Those Bobby Dazzlers.
How amazing is that?
It's amazing.
But I think the best thing about that is that you just get a standard black on black, or there's lime and black. You can choose from. The lime and black look really, really sweet actually. And everyone will think, oh, they're just a standard pair of P.R.O Izumi shoes, nothing to worry about. And then you get a little hint of the iridescent sole, shall we say. £274.99. These do look pretty damn bling. Doing the classic, going to a cycling shop and trying them on, they feel quite nice. They've got an off-center double boa dial system, which apparently moves away from anything that's, delicate or, you're going to feel that in your foot. As I said, going into a bike shop, trying them on. In the office, I was putting them on my feet this morning, going, actually, these feel quite nice, feel pretty sweet. I can't tell you about stiffness or riding comfort, unfortunately, because I haven't ridden them yet, but I just do love the sole.
They look amazing.
They look pretty damn sweet. They're, in terms of weight, I mean, they're around 40, maybe 30 grams heavier than Shimano S-Fire shoes. Giro Empire are lighter still. They come with a 3-layer composite upper, and P.R.O Izumi say that they're the lightest, most breathable.
The upper isn't that substantial, is it? When you feel it, actually.
No, and
so it's not a lot
slipping
to it.
them on, they feel pretty comfortable. The soles also come with these, the shoes do, rather, and they come with 2 different arch supports, so you can slip them in. If we just whip a inner sole out, you get a little sleeve in the sole. So if you did want to change that, I mean, every shoe I've bought into or tested or tried, I've never really had to mess about with different soles or different inserts. And they also have 2 little shims for the sort of metatarsals, the front of the foot, for a bit more support if you need that there, which I think is a nice idea. Personally, I'm not there for messing around.
I like the fact that they're not just one sole. It's kind of like a build your own boot setup that you can get going on here.
Definitely.
Which obviously just a bit of trial and error when you're riding. Although a lot of people know what they like.
Yeah, exactly.
They know what
so I think that's a good shout from P.R.O Izumi.
Yeah.
They haven't done a huge amount in the last couple of years of like fantastic or outrageous or shoes that you really want to desire, but something like that has sort of changed the game slightly for me.
Sole is amazing, isn't it?
But that electroplastic they've put on the bottom here doesn't add anything to the stack height of the shoe. They say it's around 5mm, which isn't high at all. So should keep saddle heights and things fairly standard.
Very nice. I remember when we were teased these before their release, and all they did was they just sent a photo through of this sole. Yeah. And it was like, oh, what are they doing? But
I think it'll be amazing when you're out riding and then you get a glimpse of someone's sole.
Yeah. Or you're at the cafe and you just keep putting your feet up. It's on the table.
Well, you're allowed to now with these.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that is my shout for this month.
Lovely job.
What have you got, Roops?
Right, yeah, I'll go next as the fill-in between you two's bread.
Sounds a bit weird, but I'll go for it.
Here's what I've brought. These are DHB's shoes. These are the DHB Aeron, yeah, DHB Aeron Carbon D shoes. A couple months ago now, DHB released a line of shoes, which has 4 in, I do believe, of which these sit at the top. So, yeah, they are range topping. So for that, you get full carbon sole, this A-top dial, and these Velcro straps. So these come in at, yeah, I'll pass that around. These come in at £120, which is pretty remarkable value considering that it's not a carbon composite sole. This is a full carbon sole, 3K weave, which adds a bit of comfort and that stiffness. You get a dial for the retention, so it's not all Velcro, not 2 dials, but for £120, getting a lot for your money there.
Yeah, there's sort of competition, I guess, for the B-Twin shoes, which have been around a while, and we really rate those shoes as like a budget option.
Definitely.
That's got a carbon sole, but they have the A-top dials on as well.
Yeah.
So it's a similar sort of thing to that, really. Similar sort of sole design as well.
Yeah, it's
But
quite.
I think anyone looking for competitive race shoes, i.e. carbon, they shouldn't expect to always have to spend.
Yeah, definitely.
200 and plus on shoes is a lot of money. I think sometimes we can forget how much a pair of shoes costs.
There's definitely a trend with shoes at the moment that shoes have become more and more expensive in the last few years. It's like, I remember when Shimano S-Fire shoe came out, and that was, the retail price was like £312 when it first came out. And I remember thinking like, what?
Yeah.
When did shoes get so expensive?
But now, like the other month we had the Fiziks in that were knitted, the retail price is £400. You're like, so it's good to see that there's options that are more reasonable.
Yeah, you don't have to break the bank to get performance shoes. DHB do give a word of warning about the fit of these, and this isn't something I've come across before in shoes. They actually say size down.
Okay.
Which is not something you often come across. Usually you size up, and these are 42, so Simon's size, and I'm
42.
Yeah. You want a 39 in these?
And I'm usually a 43, and these fit well. If anything, there's still a bit of room in the end.
Wow. Okay.
So they really do definitely size down if you buy a pair of these. You have on the bottom 3 vents as well to keep things nice and cool, and the standard 3-bolt cleat setup and some markings there to help you dial in the fit. So it's a pretty comprehensive shoe for £120.
So come on, Oliver.
Continuing with our shoe special, I also have a pair of shoes, but they're complete opposite end of the spectrum to Rupert's DHB shoes. I've got the new Fizik R1B Infinito in the Movistar colours.
I really like the colourway of that shoe.
Do you like
nice,
it? It's a
yeah.
nice sort of colour fade going on here. So this is the new R1B Infinito, which is replacing the R1B that's outgoing. That was a very popular shoe with a lot of pro riders were using that, and I like them as well.
Very divided in the office though. I think you found there's a couple of people that were naysayers and a couple that liked the Fizik R1Bs.
Yeah, not everyone gets along with the fit with the Fizik R1B and stuff, but I get on with it, but I know you don't. So this is the non-knitted version, and the knitted version is currently on Fizik's website for £399, which is, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a pair of shoes. The non-knitted version, which I actually much prefer, and I would definitely choose this even if it was the same price, is £75 less. So it's still a really expensive retail price, but yeah, I mean, £325.
Sitting in the realms of all the other high-end
shoes. Yeah, and this is like the top-end shoe. But in terms of what you get for that, well, you've got the usual sort of carbon sole. That's the same sole, I believe, that was on the R1B. What the main thing that's changed from the outgoing model is the upper and the closure system. So you've got 2 BOA dials again, but they've actually tweaked the way that the BOA dials sort of retain your foot. And so you've got a sort of 5-point connection here of where the cable runs, and before that was like a 3-point system. So it's designed to encapsulate and hold your foot better and reduce pressure points.
That's their new Infinito fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I think is to solve the issue that the likes of me had with the previous model. Hot spots and pressure points were the issue. You know, the fundamentals of the shoe and its performance was fine. So hopefully,
that's exactly what they said.
That gives them more of a range of.
And the in terms of like the material, it's the same sort of kangaroo leather upper type deal that they've had on the other shoe. So not vegan friendly, but you know, what can you do? But I think something that's quite cool to point out to people who might be interested in what's the difference between, say, a shoe like this and a shoe like this. Well, firstly, the overall quality of construction is noticeably higher when you have the 2 next to each other like this. You can see that this is a sort of more premium product. The quality of the carbon sole is slightly higher, but we obviously can't measure the stiffness. An interesting point, I think, is the dials. So on the top end shoes like this, the dial goes a millimetre each way, and you can loosen or tighten just by twisting like that, just in 1 millimetre increments, which is pretty useful for tuning your fit. Whereas like on these A-top dials, to loosen it off, you have to like undo the dial, and then once it's engaged in like loosening mode, you can just pull it apart. But then you can't loosen it in one single clicks. You can only tighten it in single clicks.
I think the other thing to point out with the dials, especially between BOA and the top systems, is that BOA are far superior in terms of their cabling and their ratchet systems. And I'm pretty certain BOA, I can't say for a top, but they might do, but they give a lifetime warranty, I'm pretty certain, on their ratchets.
You can certainly replace it all
very easily and
very
customise
easily.
and various other things.
So I think these are really beautiful shoes. They are, in terms of weight, these are a size 45, which is my size, and they're 250 grams a shoe. So in terms of that makes them sort of comparable to the Shimano S-Fire, which also has 2 BOA dials, but that is now you can get that for quite a lot less money, and that's one of our favourite shoes we've done. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of stack up longer term against the S-Fire, which I think is a class-leading BOA dial shoe out there at the moment.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Brilliant shoe.
Well, there we go. I think that concludes our little shoe special for Tech of the Month, and we're going to move swiftly on to, as we always do, Bike of the Month. And as you can see, we have the 3T Strada sitting behind us, and I've been testing this. I've been riding this bike, having good fun in crosswinds and various other things during the winter. And it's quite a controversial bike, I think it's fair to say. Had a lot of hype around it, around its launch, later last year and early this year. You can just look at it. It's going against what a lot of other brands have done with their bikes.
It's a very hot bike of the moment, isn't it?
Certainly
Very
impact.
You would say that in terms of like a marketing exercise, this bike has been a massive success, without a doubt.
But they've taken away, most notably, the front mech. So it's a single bike. This bike supplied is £7,550 complete. It comes supplied with the 3T Discus C60 team wheels, which I did not get on with. I think let's start with the negatives of the bike before we get into any of the positives. And in crosswinds, it is a bit of a handful.
Right.
Deep wheels, discs, large cassette, Aero style frame with nippy handling just makes it a bit dicey. Yes, we're in the middle of winter. Some open sections are always going to catch you out, but particularly this bike, it really made me think about where I was and how I was positioned. Rather than relaxing, going out for a ride with your mates, it was more like, I really need to have to think about this.
So the big thing as well is single ring, right?
Single ring.
That's what everyone wants to know. How do you get on with a single ring?
Largely, fine. Absolutely fine.
Largely.
The slight niggles here and there. Let's go with the positive. Handling is amazing. If you really like nimble, racy, low down bikes, this would thrill you on every ride. Topped off with really wide tyres, you've got loads of grip, loads of comfort, so you're almost getting the best of both worlds of a really racy, aggressive bike, but it's not going to beat you up, and it doesn't beat you up. 5 hours a couple of weekends ago, you probably still see the dirty marks from the Kent lanes, but I was actually quite surprised that I got to the end of the day, my lower back was fine, my shoulders were fine, my arse was fine. It's kind of like, okay, this actually does work. So lower pressures, various contact points on the road are horrendous, as you know, in Surrey and Kent, and it did help to iron those out. One note I must make with the wider tyres is that running lower pressures, and I'm sure you guys have found this, is that it does change your perception of where you are in terms of grip, and it does change the way you sort of feel the road and feel the cornering stuff. Initially when I jumped on, I was like, yeah, wide tyres, loads of grip, and then I was descending and sort of like, don't actually know where I am at the moment, and you have to sort of relearn sort of your points of reference really, which I think is a valid thing to mention. But yes, going back to the single ring setup and the jumps between the gears, there's no getting away with it. You do notice them. But a few of my mates say, and I tend to agree, is that if you're suffering and you're pushing, you can never really find the right gear. You're always clicking up one or clicking down one. And I think over time, and especially after a few rides, you do get used to it. You sort of like, you either have to press on a little bit more, get a bit stronger, or just learn to pedal a bit more. I know it's not ideal, but you do kind of get used to it. In terms of the extremes, this bike comes supplied with a 50 tooth chainring and an 1136 rear.
So with that in mind, if you were on the Aqua Blue team,
and I was going to the Giro.
And you were going to the Giro.
I would be a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
3T are saying that they've got a new style cassette coming out. Obviously, you can play around. If you're a pro team, you're going to have a number of chain rings, a number of different option cassettes to sort of take you through stage by stage. But we're not professionals, and we don't have 5 cassettes to choose from, or could afford 5 chain rings to choose from. But one buy and SRAM always suggests that maybe you have 2 chain rings to choose from and 2 cassettes. As options, but largely 50, 1136 I was happy with. If I was going to the Alps or I was going to Mallorca or I was having a particularly bad day, then I'd probably want an inner chain ring just to get myself a get out of jail free card basically, which I don't think this bike gives you, which will be an issue really. Saying that, it does weigh around 8.3, 8.4 kilos, which is it's a heavy bike.
That is a lot.
Considering the size.
And the price.
And the price. £3,600 for the frame set only, frame and fork. As I say, £7,550 complete. And yeah, it's nearly a kilo heavier than a comparable Canyon Aero disc or a specialised Venge Vice disc. It's almost like a concept bike. It's not for your everyday. It's something a bit out there. I think there's a few little things they could change, like the cable routing, for example. If they can get that going through the handlebar and stem into the frame, and you don't have to worry about it, I would never have to hit my knees on those cables again. Adam Blythe, who's on the Aqua Blue team, he's been riding. Spotting a few of his Instagram posts, you can see he's cabled both the cables going into the top of the top tube, round one side, and then it's like tied them to the stem slightly, so they're sort of out the way. But obviously, he's had an issue there with the routing and the way it's positioned. I was always annoyed getting out the saddle. Undoubtedly fast, very good handling, but there's a few little aspects that might need improving for just real world kind of bike riding, I think.
I guess then, having said all of that, it's cool to see 3T actually sticking to their guns and making something like this.
Yeah.
Going totally the left field, just having an idea and being like, no, we're just going to make that.
Yeah.
And that's good. In cycling industry, that's exciting.
Definitely.
And it's
it is an exciting bike.
It's an impact bike.
I did enjoy riding it. There was no point I thought, I don't want to go out on this bike today. It's comfortable, it rides well, it rolls along beautifully.
And we'll always tip our hat to innovation and good ideas.
Definitely. Well, thanks guys. I think that concludes us for Bike of the Month and Tech of the Month, for February at least. But if you've enjoyed our shoe special this month, be sure to comment and let us know if you want to see any other specific specials throughout the year.
And if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the Cycling Weekly channel. But in the meantime, see you later.
Andrew, you're really far away, mate. Like and subscribe. Oh. Here.
Where is it? Where is it usually?
Where did it come up? Here. Subscribe.
See you later.
That's a thumbnail if ever I've seen one. All three of us.
That's amazing.
That's got to be in the Facebook cover.